crafting costs as well as what your return in research points are. But as you can see here, as you go further down the tech tree, I accidentally bought. As you can see, this video is very painful for me to make, so if this video is helpful in any way to you, please consider dropping a like and subscribing if you'd like to see more content. But here we go, let's go into the video. Hey guys, it's Bob Kebab and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about station building. It's a critical component of what the future of Starbase looks like. So as a lot of folks have already seen, all of the good or stuff that is going to be very helpful for future items and weapons and jump drives and everything crazy that you can think of, it's going to require ore that's not just readily found right next to the origin station. So for a lot of folks, it's already been very difficult. We've seen a lot of just in a few days, we've seen like a lot of the basic materials drop so much in price that it's just not as profitable as it once was. So you're going to see a real push by a lot of folks to start pushing out further and further, even beyond the save zone, which is scary. So today we're going to be talking about how to unlock station building and how to actually start up your first station. There's actually two different options. When you start up a station, you can choose to have one built in the safe zone, and that's like your first station that you can create. And then at the very end of the tech tree is actually when you're able to build outside of the safe zone. If you've already taken that journey outside of the safe zone and hit a rock a little bit too quickly, you can understand that starting in the safe zone, but maybe further closer towards the edge of it, is maybe something you're looking for. I try to limit my time out there because I do not want to destroy my ship and lose everything. So let's talk about creating your first stations. So let's open up the tech tree. So at the very start here, we've got research, and I've talked about this in a previous video on how to quickly push through the tech tree. But at the very top here, you can see there's 3 different tabs, and that might be a surprise for some folks, but to actually go ahead and unlock all of the station parts and start building stations, you're going to want to go to the advanced tab and unlock the crafting bench. So at the very start, it's going to be a pretty massive investment, but one really upside about getting into the station building is that as of recording right now, once you have station parts unlocked and you can start building beams and plates and all of that good stuff, it actually goes a lot quicker than you would imagine, mostly because, let's pull up the menu here. So the advanced crafting bench doesn't actually require too many materials, and it produces a ton of research, which is super helpful for things further down all the other tech tree lines. But more specifically, you are going to be able to build parts for the station. And I talked about this again in my previous video where I talked about the efficiencies associated with the crafting costs as well as what your return in research points are. But as you can see here, as you go further down the tech tree, I accidentally bought I was just trying to get the price. So I just accidentally dropped 15,000 structural research points into this, but it's fine. We're fine. So as you go further down the line, you can see that things like this are going to be like 15,000 research just for one spot, which sounds crazy, but like I've shown you, you can find crazy deals in terms of station parts. If we look at just the plates, the basic plates for a station, those actually come out to about 50% efficiency. So for every 30 Valkite that you put in, you get 15 research points back, that's great. That's amazing compared to everything else. Another important thing to note is that when you're building the stations, you're using almost entirely Valkite, which, if you've been mining before, you know that it's the nice, beautiful, ugly rock red rock that surrounds all the goodies inside. So more likely than not, you have a ton of Valkite already saved up in your station storage. So that's going to be really cool. Another big thing that you'll need is Agitite. Those are going to be the main two components when you build pretty much anything for stations. As you can see here, blocks just take the Valkite. Agitite's used in some other things too, but really it's going to be very quickly you're going to be able to power level these things. So you don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, now let's say you've gone ahead and you've gotten your bench and you've also unlocked the station foundation. Very important first step there. Once you have your station foundation, you're going to want to get your ship or a friend as well, and you're going to want to load up on materials, predominantly things that you'll need to craft while you're out there. So if you plan on making any additions to your ship or repairs or whatever, make sure to bring things that your ship's made out of. Nergite's going to be a big one because you're going to want to craft some additional fuel rods as you go out here, especially if you're going back and forth and mining a lot, as well as your main supply of Valkite and Agitite, since you can quickly build out things. You'll also want to have a basic crafting bench as well as an advanced crafting bench saved up in your personal inventory. You don't want to travel around with it bolted onto your ship unless you're able to avoid durability errors, which is great. Congrats. I haven't been able to solve that yet. So this is when you'll have to make a decision. How far out do you want to go from the origin stations? So here you can see that I'm about 50 kilometers out. There's a couple of rules. One, you have to be more than 30 kilometers away from the origin station. And then two, you can't be within 1 kilometer of another player's station. So those rules are put into place to, give everyone a little bit of space. However, you can see just on the map here, there's a lot of folks that have chosen to locate very close to one another. So just as you're going around, keep that in mind. If you have a bunch of friends and you're trying to build a bunch of stations or one mega station, just keep those thoughts in the back of your head. Once you have a spot in mind, you're going to want to go ahead and take out your station foundation. I did not build an extra just because I'm personally short on minerals right now, but it's going to look like this, and when you're carrying it around, it's actually going to be very difficult to maneuver it at all. You don't really have to worry about how to orient it because you're in space. That's not a big deal. You don't have to worry about that as much. Any way is up, so just it's all relative. So just go ahead, find a spot that you want to drop it, and then you'll drop it. Next up, the most important thing is to press the button that's at the very top of the ship here. So I got to the end of the video and I forgot to mention this. If you just place down your station foundation and you immediately check to see what the inventory situation looked like, don't panic. It looks like it's bad. It looks like it's really bad. And there's only one block that initially shows up. Like you'll see just one of these little blocks here on this station storage, and you'll freak out. Don't worry. It works just like fine. You can see I've done nothing and I'm able to fill this thing up. So, or the foundation, sorry. So pressing that will then give you ownership of the station, and it'll go ahead and open up a brand new menu here. So it'll automatically populate the station with your name on here. The very first thing you're going to see is the access area. Here you'll have the options to add people to have access. So if you've got a bunch of friends, or if you're in a company or a group or whatever, this is where you'll be able to add them. So on the menu, on the right hand menu here, you'll be able to add access, and you can just go ahead and choose whether it be from your group, company, or whatever. Once you've added them in, you'll see their names all lit up here, and then there's these additional icons that you'll be able to choose with them. So for Foxfire, I can go ahead and choose whether or not I want them to have access to the to the safe zone. So you can add them as well to the hall access. I don't think there's necessarily anything that the factory halls can do right now. I'm not sure if it's because they're bugged or if it's because they haven't introduced things yet, but just don't have to worry too much about that right now. And then probably the most important one is deciding whether or not they have building and deconstruction privileges. So, if someone's helping the station and, putting parts down, as well as welding things in, or just manipulating, moving things around, this is where you'll give them that permission. Everyone's cool with me, so I just did that. Another very important part here is the top 4 options here. This is the transponder access part of the menu. So if we go ahead and look around here, you can see that I can see the station transponders, but also I can see some other stations around my area here. So shout out to all of the neighbors that I have. You can choose whether or not you want your station to be publicly seen via the transponder, or if you just want to keep it for your friends or your group or what have you. Real quick tip, if you do want to see all of the different transponders nearest to you, or even a little bit further out from you, one thing I recommend doing is going into settings and then click transponders on the left side of the menu here, then station transponders. And what you can do is you can increase the default value, I think it's 10 or 5, all the way up to 30. And then you can also change sorts of things in here to be able to see. Maybe you can prioritize, or you don't want to see any of the signals from random people, you just want to see your company. You can edit all of that here. So another big thing here is the speed limit for station transponder visibility. Sometimes if you're standing still, you're not going to be able to see the various stations. So knock that down to 0. I think it's default 1 or 0.1 or something. So it's not a huge deal, but just something to keep in mind. So you've gone ahead, you've placed down your starting foundation, and what now? So you'll see this green box that surrounds your station here, and that's actually the build area. So everything in there you can build. The safe zone actually extends out by, I think, 1 kilometer in each direction. So you'll be safe for a while, and you can do a little bit of mining of the asteroids closest to you if they're in the way. I don't know if you'll be able to expand them, or if this is just for the safe zone stations. Maybe there might not be one for the others. We'll see. But then pretty much it's all up to you from there. You literally just have this one block that you have to build off of and figure it out from the rest of the way. I'm still figuring it out. This is by no means anything close to completed. Over here, I am planning to put down my factory hall, which will be large. I don't know if I want to cut it off here or if I want it to go the full distance, so we'll see. And then over here, planning to have some landing pads or something like that. Who knows? So you've built your foundation. So now what? That's totally up to you. You can kind of take it a bunch of different ways. Basically, this is your time to design things. As of right now, there is not a designer, a space station designer in the game. I think it was previously in the alpha, but it's not currently in the game. So pretty soon, hopefully they'll be adding it back in. You can build your stuff a couple of different ways. One, you can actually just go through and build a bunch of different station modules, which can be found surprisingly in the station modules section. And here you can see a whole bunch of different pre-made designs. So these are kind of like the modules that you'll see for ships, but these actually work surprisingly. So that's very exciting. And then you can also just go ahead and build normal plates that you can put down on the station. So these white squares that you see are actually a bunch of plates all welded together, since I don't believe there's any modules that are as large that can put these giant plates down. So you can see they're only going to be like 1 layer thick, which won't help if we're ever attacked or anything like that, but they look nice. Okay, so you've gone ahead and you've designed a few different things here. Let's go ahead and place them down. So one thing to note is that, like I mentioned before, this is how Easy Build should be working, or this is like a better version or working version of Easy Build, in that you actually don't have to worry about having the physical item in your inventory. So here you can see that all I have is this frame ridge flat half, but I've also gone ahead and put down a ramp as well as just the normal basic cube for the station into my hotbar. And with Easy Build, you can actually go through and place these items in the real world. You don't have to worry about having them in your inventory, which is super helpful, especially if you're putting down tons of plates and everything like that. It makes your life so much easier. That's all accessible through the Easy Build menu. The Easy Build mode isn't totally obvious on how to start up. So to do that, all you have to do is press the period key on your keyboard. Right next to comma, the same thing that you used to open up the auction house. Right next to it, just click period, and there will be a quick little notification in your chat that says Easy Build mode has been toggled on or off, depending on what setting it is. So let me turn it back on. In here, now that I have it, you can see that I can, still not perfect, right? It's still not perfect, but I think what it might be doing is, because I put plates down right here, I can put all of these cube blocks onto the beams however I see fit, and feel the need to just spam them everywhere. I can totally do that, and they're already pre-welded. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about getting a power pack for your weld tool or anything. However, to pick up your items, you will need to use the weld tool to unweld them, and then it'll throw it automatically right back into your inventory. So it doesn't take up any power doing so, but there it goes. And you can see that for the first one at least, or for the second one at least, it threw it back into your inventory. And then the cube, who knows where it went. Oh, is that it? Ghost. So that's pretty much it so far. The other option I hinted at it earlier is the ability to add in the factory halls. Later on, these are going to be used for a bunch of different things, and I don't think they're fully explained yet. A lot of things in the game aren't fully explained. That's why there's videos like mine. As far as I've seen, the factory
recorded this video, I didn't necessarily have all the best information about factory halls. It's very hard to find a lot of this sort of stuff, so after a little bit of digging, I found some comments from Lowry, the CEO of Frozen Byte. In it, they envisioned two main types of factories. One in which there's autonomous production, so stuff that you'd imagine like creating blueprints and manufacturing different parts, or automatically destroying asteroids and mining them. And then another sort of area, like factory area production, where it would essentially just be like craft benches and things like that, and maybe even hangars. And they talk about a sort of blueprint caster that operates a lot like how a 3D printer would work, which sounds super cool, but that's currently not in the game. They'd say that in the days before launch, Lowry said that the timeline for what a full factory loop would look like is about 2 to 3 months out. So who knows if that's been changed by the rollout of early access, but there's still a lot more to come down the pipeline from factory areas. As of right now, the main thing you can do is just kind of bolt down your workbenches and make sure they don't float off into space.
Duo, where you put down a normal ship part. So I hope this video was helpful for some of you. I know at the very least it's going to be very uncomfortable to take all of your belongings and drive out into space and drop a random block in the middle of nowhere and then build from that. But hopefully this can make you a little bit more comfortable doing it. If you found this video helpful, feel free to drop a like below, leave some notes in the comments. If you have a question still, feel free to drop one down there. And if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot, and it also helps me keep making content like this. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.